Because your outcome is you want to shut down Pornhub. That's you. The 2.33 million signatures that you've collected, they're supporting you because they want to see Pornhub being shut down, not being moderated, not...
I'm glad when they're taking steps to limit the amount of illegal content.
Can
that is
they
on
do
the
anything
site.
where you will be in a position to say, guys, it's fine, it can stay on?
Absolutely not.
Why?
Because victims will never forget. That's not what justice looks like. It doesn't look like you say sorry.
Yeah.
You say, okay, we're going to clean some stuff up now because we got in trouble. It's not because they wanted to do this, right? Yeah. If the petition never happened, if Nick Kristof didn't write his article, if Bill Ackman didn't get involved to help get the credit card companies to cut them off, if they didn't...
Bill Ackman is the one that got the Visa and Mastercard to cut them off?
Yeah, so Bill Ackman, I love Bill. He's been such an important advocate in this fight. He read the Nick Kristof New York Times piece, I think it was the day after it was out, sipping his morning coffee in his penthouse. And he was incensed because he has daughters himself. And I ended up getting in touch with him and explained everything that was going on. And he not only, tweeted about it, he actually contacted Ajay Banga, who at the time was the CEO of Mastercard because he knew him from the tennis circuit. And he shared the article and he said, look, you need to do the right thing here. And he said, I'm on it. And that's when they announced that they were going to be investigating the site, even though we had already been engaged with Mastercard now for almost a year at this point. But they were resisting. But then finally, they actually said, okay, we're investigating. Of course, they confirmed the illegal content all over the site because they knew about it from the start.
Well, in one article, it says Visa and Mastercard stopped doing business with Pornhub in December of 2020. But this is 2022.
But
so they
no.
got back on?
So here's what happened. So Bill Ackman intervenes. They confirm the illegal content. Mastercard's the first one that says, okay, we're disengaging with Pornhub. Visa quickly follows suit. They're not going to be left behind in this. Discover does. PayPal already had done this at the beginning.
Whatever Visa does, Mastercard does. Whatever Mastercard does, Visa does. Yes.
Okay, so that was the worst thing that could have ever happened to Pornhub.
And I think Unilever and PayPal also stopped advertising and offering their services to them during that same time.
Correct. They had done that actually at the beginning of December 2020, but they were losing all of their advertisers and whatnot. And
so who is allowing them to accept payments today? Who do they still have?
So they have cryptocurrency and they have bank wires as payment options. But I'll tell you the story of what happened. So they get cut off by the credit card companies. Now, this is the worst thing that could ever happen to them. I mean, Fabian Tillman told me earlier in 2020, if you want to go after Pornhub, go after the credit card companies because that's the only thing they care about.
It's true.
And when they announced that they were cutting ties, Pornhub did the unthinkable. And that is when they took down 80% of the entire website because it was all unverified content. Because it was infested, because they didn't have ID and consent, because they didn't know who was in the videos. And there were so many illegal videos. That was the only thing that they could do to try to woo the credit card companies back. And there was headlines all over the world about this. So they lost the ability to process transactions for their premium, and they had cut off the advertising as well. But 2 weeks later, I found out an insider from the company came forward and said, I know you don't know this. This was months later. But 2 weeks after that New York Times piece, they actually went back to the advertising arm of the company. The advertising arm is called Traffic Junkie, and that's how they make most of their money. I mean, today they sat here and told you, how do we make money on Pornhub? We make it through advertising. They were selling 4.6 billion ad impressions on Pornhub every day. Okay, that's how they're making their money. The credit card companies went back. So then it was round two with the credit card companies. Of course, one of the first people I called was Bill. I said, you're not going to believe this. They've gone back. He said, I'm going to help. He did. We engaged with the credit card companies again, but it wasn't until they were resisting again and again. It wasn't until August of 2022 when Visa lost its motion to dismiss. So Serena sued Visa. She sued Pornhub and the owners and executives, and Visa lost their motion to dismiss the case. Judge Carmack Carney in California gave a scathing decision. He said, according to the facts in this case, Visa gave Pornhub the very tool through which to complete the crime of knowingly benefiting from child trafficking and denied them. made headlines around the world. Bill got him and I on Squawk Box with Andrew Sorkin. 17 minutes. We're calling out Al Kelly. The attorney for Serena got on Squawk Box the day before, the pressure was on, the headlines were piling up. And then Al Kelly came forward with a personal statement. He said, I usually don't do this, but I'm a father and we're going to cut off PornHub once and for all. And then, of course, Mastercard followed, Discover, and that's how they finally got cut off by the credit card companies.
So if it's crypto only and wiring money, you can't make $500 million a year like that.
Well, it's because they have the other pay sites, right? So
what are the other pay sites?
They have the subscription sites. They have the Browsers and the Reality Kings, and they manage Playboy, and they, have Mofos and so many others.
What percentage of the revenue comes from Pornhub?
I don't know today how much of their total revenue as a company is coming from Pornhub versus their other sites.
There's no way it's a lot if it's only wiring money.
It definitely tanked. I mean, Pornhub used to be the cash cow. Now I think what it's used as is more an advertising arm for them. So they advertise their other pay sites.
You're going to think I'm crazy when I tell you this, but the last 13 and a half years I've been working on my first fiction book to write, ever. Fiction book to write. And while I finished this book, a year ago, I got the strangest phone call about one of the characters in the book where the guy wanted to meet with me and he read the book. And afterwards is like, wait a minute, am I the villain in the book? This is a story about a character named Asher, who is half Armenian, half Assyrian, whose father was involved in the Iranian Revolution, linked to Savak, working with the Shah, that they escape and he gets recruited to a secret society. Well, when you go to the secret society, it's been around for a couple thousand years. They've developed some of the craziest leaders of all time. And they test you. There's unique tests that they have at this society where they test to see your emotional mental toughness. One of the tests that they have is very rigorous. It's purely mental. Of course, there's a physical one, but one is mental and emotional. If you're Armenian, if you're Syrian, if you're Persian, this is a book you're going to be reading and saying, holy moly, this is the kind of stuff you talk about in here? Yes. If you're somebody that's fascinated by history, this is a book for you. Characters. There's a technology that this society, secret society, builds where you go into a vault. I won't spoil it for you. When you go down, they have a technology where you get to sit down and watch and have a 3-4 hour conversation with Tupac. You can set up a debate between Karl Marx and Ayn Rand. Karl Marx is in the book, who wrote Communist Manifesto. Ayn Rand, who wrote Atlas Shrugged, is in the book. Marilyn Monroe explains the concept of seduction and sex in the book. When you read the book, it's about development of the next leaders in the world and how they do it and how they've been doing it for many years. And it's also about how to prevent the end of civilization and how this organization goes about doing it. So, I've never written a parenting book before, but if I ever wrote a parenting book, this is the closest thing to it because it's all mindset, a lot of crazy stories. Again, 13 and a half years. Trust me, I told myself I will not publish this book until I sell my insurance company and I'm fully disconnected from it, where it's no longer my responsibility 100%. When you read this, if you're a creative person, if you like fiction books, if you enjoyed Atlas Shrugged, or if you enjoy Divergent, if you like books like that, I think you're gonna enjoy reading this book. It's the creative side. Business books is very easy. Here's how you do it. Here's how this how it works. This is very creative. If you haven't placed the order yet, now you can order it on Simon & Schuster, Amazon. I'm gonna put the link up below somewhere here, maybe even in my profile. Go order the book and read it. I've never written a book where I can't wait to read your reviews to see what you think about this book. So I'm going on this wild journey and we have some plans with this book here. If you support the things that I work on, I would appreciate you going and reading the book, order the book on Amazon, and then post a review. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.